The goal of this project was to demonstrate my level design capabilities. To do this, I used Unity to develop 5 levels. These levels were designed to fit into either a fantasy or sci-fi genre, as they are the genre of games I enjoy playing the most and aim to make in the future. My aims were to develop 5 levels that fit into a fantasy or sci-fi genre, and to develop and implement polished levels for each game demo, while my objectives are dependent on each level. Then Metroidvania's levels objective was to develop 9 areas that would fit within a fantasy genre, but would also suit a Metroidvania-styled game. The isometric environments objective was to develop a level that would fit within a fantasy tactics-styled game. Mapleshire, or the town level as it used to be known as, its objective was to develop a fantasy medieval town level suited for an open world RPG game. The objective of EvoCell, or the MOBA level, was to develop a 3-lane MOBA map that looked like a research institute. The level was designed to fit within the sci-fi genre. And finally, the space station level. This level was developed to be a horror level with the intention of having the level set in 2 different lighting stages, one where it was brightly lit, and the other where it was dark, dingy, with flickering lights. This level was developed to fit within the sci-fi genre and the horror genre at the same time. During the pre-production portion of this assignment, I focused on getting the level layouts finalized in the beginning. This was both in drawn and digital means. In the top right, you can see the digital variations of these levels. After that, I focused on creating the blockouts of the level. As you can see in the top right, again, these are very simplistic. This is because I wanted to focus more on the construction of the level rather than the blockouts. And lastly, I started prepping for the vertical slice, building the core features of each level. As you can see in the top right, although they're very basic, they showcase the key features I am trying to convey. In the production portion of the projects, I focused on sourcing the assets that I required to build each level. Once I had everything I needed, I started to set dress a level to help refine the level into a more polished product. Once I had the set dressing sorted, I moved on to adding extras to the level. This would include lighting and scripting, although in some cases some levels took longer to get prepared than others. So at week 4 and 5 I was happy with the state of the Metroidvania level and the isometric level, so I decided to put it out as an alpha to get my peers' feedback on what could be improved to the level. Here are the before and after screenshots of the levels in question. After adapting my levels to the peers' feedback, I then started focusing on getting the levels prepared for the beta release and the post-production portion of the project. In the post-production portion of the projects, I adapted to as much feedback suggestions that I received from the beta in relation to each level. There are some that I couldn't do, and some that I chose not to do because I felt like it would negatively impact the level that I was trying to design. Apart from that, I've been continuously playing the levels just to make sure there's no bugs that I can find, and also just tweaking the levels slightly to get it ready for the final release. In relation of the project demo, I have had to split up the demos into 2-minute pieces, which has been playing throughout this whole video and will continue to do so until the end of this video. Unfortunately, I have had to cut or adapt a couple of features that I initially wanted to do. This is in regards to the Metroidvania level and the isometric level. In the Metroidvania level, I said I wanted 2 features, which was a double jump and a pickup event. I've managed to do the double jump, but due to limited coding knowledge, I was unable to do the pickup event. At the end, I decided to cut it out of the project. And in regards to the isometric environment level, I stated I wanted a day-night cycle. Unfortunately, I don't believe that you can use lighting within a 2D project, so this was pretty much impossible. So what I have done is I've created a day-night level variation, so I've adapted instead of getting rid of it completely. When creating my risk assessment, I wrote down a number of risks that I believed could happen, and unfortunately a number of risks have happened. Some of the risks that have occurred are sickness, burnout, data loss, too complex of programming, low feedback and compared to what I was expecting, power loss, having to push weekly tasks ahead as I hadn't had the time to do it, and either adaptation or cutting off some features. To help manage the projects that I created, I developed a work breakdown structure, risk assessment, and Gantt chart. These were used to help track the initial timeline that I believed would happen. I also used Hack and Plan to create tasks, record hours I actually did do, and then after that I also recorded weekly devlogs to showcase my progress or to voice any concerns. I also had supervisor meetings where I would discuss my progress and any issues that I was having. My week by week development process was very simplistic. I created tasks that I knew I had to have done that week. If there was any major deliverables, I would ensure that they were done first. I would look back on the previous weeks to see if there was any tasks that I had to move forward or I hadn't finished completely, and if there was something like that, I would then bring it forward into the next week as a new task with just that specific thing. I would then go on to completing the tasks. If the task had the potential to cause any issues or bugs, I would playtest the level quite extensively. If I found any bugs, I would try to sort them out initially, and then if I couldn't do it within like a desired time, let's say an hour, I would then add it to the bug tracking document that I'd created. I would try to come up with a solution myself, and if not, then I would look online for some help, tutorials, or any sort of documentation on how to fix it. Once I had completed the set tasks that I had, I would look into adding more. This didn't happen often, but it did happen a few times because I typically give myself too much work to do in a week and try and aim for that. As you can see on the screen right now, I have created a table which showcases all the objectives I set out to accomplish by the end of this assignment. Within the objectives, I have given myself a number of criteria that I wish to achieve, this being design, genre, and theme, with the additional criteria of lighting within a space station level. These criteria were scored based on my own personal opinion, as well as the feedback that I had received via the beta. If you would like a more in-depth breakdown of why I gave the scores that I did, then please go to my AE2 documentation, as you will find all of the breakdowns under postmortem 7.1 evaluation. Overall, I am extremely happy with what I've accomplished over the 12 weeks. I have managed to develop 5 well-constructed levels that I believe could be developed into their own game. Each level suits the genre that I had designated for them, and I truly believe that the theme of each level is apparent and can be understood by the player using the visual means that I have. That's not to say there aren't room for improvements. For example, in the MOBA, I would like to add some more set dressing to the lane and the outer jungle areas to better suit the Research Institute theme that I was trying to encompass. And in the isometric level, I wish I could have had gameplay to the level, but unfortunately the asset pack that I was using didn't come with any instructions on how to set it up, so I had to try and reverse engineer it, and I just couldn't get it working in time. There are some things that I would do differently. For example, if I had to do this again, I would stick to probably one genre and one game and just do 3 levels over the 12 weeks and sort of have it as like a progressional type of thing instead of 5 independent games. Thank you for taking the time to listen.